All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the Eagles-Panthers game from Sunday. This ended up being a close game. Now, I kind of thought this was going to be the week where the Panthers were going to get blown out. And they've been playing well as of late, and they continue to play well in this game. Bryce Young did turn the ball over, but, the Eagles have a very good defense. But you know what? Even with this loss, this was a moral victory for the Panthers because it looks like Bryce Young has found something. And if that's the case, Panthers fans got to be excited. If they can continue to build up this team and he continues to play like this, I think, they're heading in the right direction. I mean, he did have under 200 yards passing looking at the stats here. But, again, the Panthers still had an opportunity to maybe win this game. And we got to go all the way down to the very end. And it looked like Xavier Legette caught a pass that would have given the Panthers, would have tied the game. And it ended up being ruled incomplete. And then they ultimately did not score, and the Eagles ended up getting the win. But to kind of see how the game unfolded, there were punts to start off this game. Panthers actually went up 3-0. Adam Thielen had a good game. Started off that drive with a 24-yard reception. They eventually kicked the field goal to make it 3-0. Then the Eagles went down the field to make it 7-3. Tush push on 3rd and goal to make it 7-3, like I said. Then the Panthers answered, put together a nice drive. They went 14 plays, 69 yards, almost 8 minutes of time of possession, and that led to a Bryce Young to Tommy Tremble touchdown on 4th and goal. So, yeah, 10-7 Panthers. Then Bryce Young threw a pick. That led to an Eagles touchdown. Jalen Hurts connected with Devontae Smith. Good to see him back. So that made it 14-10. Then in the second half, Eagles missed a field goal. Jake Elliott missed a 52-yard field goal. And then the Panthers answered with a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard from 1 yard out. He had a big game. 26 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown. Then the Eagles responded. They scored another touchdown. And they went for 2 and got it. Jalen Hurts connected with the other tight end, Calcaterra, because there was no Dallas Goedert. I believe he got placed on injured reserve. So they lose him for a bit. That's a loss they're going to feel, though, because Dallas Goedert's a good player. And then Saquon Barkley scored to get the 2-point conversion. So that made it 22-16. And like I said, Panthers, they turned it over on downs. Well, they turned it over on downs once. They went for it on 4th and 2 from the Eagles' 27. And then later, like I said, thought Legette, caught the pass, but that ended up being incomplete. And then the Panthers turned it over on downs. They ended up losing. So, yeah, Bryce Young went 19-34 for 191 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Chuba Hubbard, 26 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown. Adam Thielen, 9 receptions for 102 yards. He's been good these last 2 weeks. He had 8 receptions for 99 yards last week and a touchdown. This week he had over 100 yards. So, and it's good to have a veteran like him there for Bryce Young. And that was how it was last year. Adam Thielen, spoke out a lot and defended Bryce Young. And, still to have him there, that's good that, that he's back and that he's healthy. Panthers defense had 4 sacks on the day of Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, only 108 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Saquon Barkley, 20 carries for 124 yards. He broke LaShawn McCoy's rushing record for the Eagles. Barkley now has 1,623 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns on the season. Jalen Hurts had 59 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell had 26 yards on the ground. The Eagles as a team ran the ball for 209 yards. A.J.Brown only 4 receptions for 43 yards. Devontae Smith had 4 for 37 and a touchdown. And then Grant Calcaterra had 3 for 16 and a touchdown. Eagles defense, only 1 sack of Bryce Young. Jake Elliott did miss a field goal. But, a little bit of drama going on with the Eagles between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's not happy that he's not getting the ball. And Brandon Graham spoke about, kind of what's going on between the two teams. Brandon Graham recently said, "I know one is trying and 11 could be better with how he responds to things. They were friends, but he said, read the whole statement here. They were friends, but things have changed." So that's interesting comment there. And now he supposedly now walked back his comments. He said, "I made a mistake on commenting on what's going on between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown." But yeah, A.J. Brown's not happy about not getting the ball. And yeah, I mean, look, he only had 4 receptions in this game. Jalen Hurts only passed the ball for 108 yards, like I said. But that's what kind of worries me about the Eagles, is Jalen Hurts and this passing game has to be better. Like Saquon Barkley, you got him back there, and I think Saquon Barkley has made a huge difference. I keep saying that. The defense also has been playing really well, but that third component, the passing game, to go along with the running game and the defense, that has to be better. It has to be better. Because if if we get to see the matchup that we all want to see, which is the Eagles and the Lions in the NFC Championship game, although if you're a Giant fan like me, maybe you necessarily don't want that. You want to see the Eagles get knocked out. But if you want to see the best of the best, right now, those are the 2 best teams in the NFC. If it's the Lions and the Eagles passing game has to be better. Jalen Hurts has to be better. You're not going to win a playoff game by throwing for 108 yards. Now, I mean, it helps if you have a really good running game. Like if Saquon Barkley, runs the ball for 200 yards. I mean, the Eagles had, 209 rushing yards as a team. All right. But they got to be able to have a good passing game. And you have the wide receivers to do it. You got Devontae Smith back to go along with A.J. Brown. This passing game has to be better. A.J. Brown last week had 5 receptions for 66 yards. The week before that, he had 6 for 109 and a touchdown. He cares about getting his numbers, and I understand that. You want to contribute, but hey, listen, the Eagles are getting wins. They're 11-2 right now. They are currently the number 2 seed in the conference. It's not like, they're losing games and A.J. Brown's not getting the ball. They're still winning games. And they still have a chance to catch the Lions and maybe get that number 1 seed. The division is pretty much theirs. I don't see Washington catching them. I mean, the Eagles would have to have a collapse like last year, but I just don't see that happening, especially when you have the Cowboys and the Giants at home to finish off the year. Those are 2 wins right there. I mean, 3 of your next 4 games are coming at home. You got the Steelers coming up, but I think, that's going to be a close game. And then you got the Commanders on the road. Commanders are coming off of a bye, and, Jane Daniels, with that rest because, he's a little banged up. And we saw how they looked against the Titans. They looked more like the Washington Commanders offense that we saw, throughout the whole season. And that's a road game. So that could be tough. But either way, you got the Cowboys and the Giants to finish off the year at home. They should win those 2 games. And, maybe they go 4-0 these last 4 games. Maybe they go 4-0 and they finish the year 15-2. But you got to be happy about that at least. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't want to blow that situation out of proportion. Like I said, Brandon Graham did walk back the comments and apologize. But, we'll keep an eye on that. You don't want that to ruin, the good thing that the Eagles have going on right now. They're 11-2, and they're a very dangerous team. But they can also be a team that's beatable because, of this passing game. If, Saquon Barkley gets shut down, and the defense is not playing well, you got to be able to, keep up with some of these teams. It's kind of like it's kind of the same thing with the Steelers too. Like they both have good defenses, and I mean, Eagles' running game is better, but if you got to get into a shootout with the team, is your passing game going to be able to keep up with that? And you would think with A.J. Brown and with Devontae Smith that would be the case. But, ultimately it could be up to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has to be better. And, maybe it's not just him. Maybe it's the play calling. I've kind of thought about it, though. If Saquon Barkley is running the ball effectively, just continue to run the ball with him. Here against the Panthers, it wasn't that kind of game. It was a close game, so it's not like you had to throw for a ton of yards to keep pace. But what's going to happen when you have that kind of game? Is Jalen Hurts going to be able to step up? That's something that remains to be seen. That's the thing that I would be worried about with the Eagles is the passing game. Just because, you can't have a quarterback throwing for 180 yards. If you're playing against the Lions. If you're playing against, the Packers and the Eagles got into a shootout early on this year. Well, the first game of the year. So, we'll see what happens. But that's the one thing that I'd be worried about, like I said, is just the passing game. But they got the talent to do it. So, but A.J.Brown not happy that he's not getting the ball. So, we'll keep an eye on that. But that's pretty much it when talking about the Eagles-Panthers game. Let me know what you guys think, though, about this game. What were your takeaways from it? Again, you know what? The Panthers, as a team, they showed you something that, they're not a pushover. Even against, the Eagles, who are one of the best teams in the NFC, one of the best teams in the NFL, they kept it close. And they had an opportunity to win the game. So that at least shows you something. And, whoever they play the rest of the year, that team's going to have their hands full. They do play the Bucs. They do play the Falcons again. They play the Cowboys this week, actually. So, Panthers, I think will get another win this year. And they'll get double the amount of wins that I thought they were going to get. Because I think, what did I only have them at? 2? So, but yeah, the Eagles, they win a close one. They're 11-2 on the year. And like I said, the NFC East is pretty much theirs. So, but there are some concerns that I have. But I said this even before this game. So, but we are going to take now our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we will talk about the 49ers and their win over the Bears, 38-13, getting back on track. We'll also talk about it from the Bears' perspective as well, because, yeah, that defense did not look good in the post-Matt Eberflus era. So for one final time today, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.